Hey guys, I'm Evan. Welcome to Country View Acres. So today I'm going to start our new fencing project, and I'm going to start by taking this old oil filled pipe. We're going to use that as our posts, and I need to cut that to length. And then on these old oil filled pipes have this scaly rust. Look, I just pulled some off. It's got some of this scaly rust on there, and we're going to try to clean it off. We're going to see if we can knock it off with a pressure washer, or if not, we may just have to take a wire wheel to it. We're basically just want to try to take off any of the loose rust today. And then after that, I think we're going to go back over to the white barn and see if we can clean that out a little bit more. And hard telling what else we'll get into, but let's get started. All right, I've got a total of 20 9.5 foot long posts, and I can use this length of pipe for either my end post or my cross braces. But I'm gonna go ahead, we're gonna get the pressure washer out. We're gonna go ahead and clean these off, spray off any, I didn't put an angle grinder on every one, just where the rust was thick. The rest of these, we'll just try to knock off any loose stuff with the pressure washer. All right, I got all 20 of these pipes all sprayed off, and then I just kept on rinsing them until the water was dripping clean. we'll let them dry, and then we'll eventually get them painted. So this oil-filled pipe, it actually widens out at the end and is threaded, and so this end is actually a bigger diameter. So what I was doing is I was just cutting the ends off. That way it was the same diameter pipe the whole length. And this oil-filled pipe, it's not the same as black pipe. They consider it, actually, they call it structural tubing, I think is what they call it. It's actually a harder steel. It's like a higher carbon steel, and the reason it's structural is because it's designed to hold its own weight, because they thread all these pipes together. It may go down, 300, 500 feet down in the well, and that pipe is strong enough to hold all of that weight, at least, vertically down into a well. And since these oil-filled pipes are stronger than black pipe, they end up making pretty good fence posts. So over here I got another stack of pipe, and these are like 21, 22 feet long. So I think we'll grab about 10 pieces of that pipe, take it back to the garage, and then we'll cut them down as well. Oh, heavy. Do better at the other end. So like I said earlier, the 9.5 foot pieces of pipe, we're going to use those for an end post, and then we also use them for a cross brace or an angle brace that will go from the end post angled down to the ground. So my next post, instead of leaving it as a tall post, we're going to make short posts. We're still going to drive them about 5 feet in the ground, but we're only going to have 1 or 2 feet sticking out of the ground. So these next ones, we're only going to cut like 6, 7 feet. We'll just do some measurements, and whatever ends up being best to maximize the use of the pipe, that's what we'll do. All right, so on this piece of pipe here, the usable length before it gets to the coupling, I got a good 21 feet here, so it means we can cut 3 7-foot posts out of it. So the length of these posts don't have to be real precise. You're just gonna drive them in the ground till they're sticking out exactly the way you want them. All right, I got all of these cut down. I've got 10 more long posts, and then I've got a total of 15 short posts. So that means I have enough pipe cut now to make a total of 15 fence braces, single fence braces, and that's exactly what I need for this fencing project. And it was extremely hot out here today. I was in the sun out here till like probably 2 in the afternoon, and then the shadow of the barn started getting over me. But I told myself just keep pushing through and just get all of it cut, and then that way we can just focus on getting it all painted so I can get it in the ground, you know, out here as quick as possible. But yeah, it has been a hot, miserable day out here. It's almost 4 in the afternoon now. I've been out here for about 7 hours, and believe me, I am worn out. So you probably noticed that the sky has changed since we started this morning. Here in the last hour, it has started to cloud up, and there's a little bit of thunder. You can hear the thunder, and we have got some thunder showers coming through. I'm not sure how much rain we'll get, but we have not had rain, like a substantial amount of rain, for probably 4 weeks now, since we actually cut the hay. So we really need rain at this point in time. The best we've got is maybe like a shower for 5 to 10 minutes. So I'm hoping when this goes through tonight, I'd like to have at least a ½ inch of rain if we can get it. So I think what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna go ahead and get the plasma cutter put back inside the shop, and I'm probably gonna go inside and get cleaned up and call it a day, and we'll come back out here in the morning. So we did get a decent amount of rain last night. It rained really heavy at times, actually. I bet we got over an inch of rain, and hopefully a lot of it ended up soaking in because we really needed it. And the cattle really enjoyed it. They enjoyed the cloudy weather because they're all out here. They stayed out in the field all night. They're laying out here today. Normally in the sunny weather, they wouldn't hardly leave the shade. So they're definitely liking this cloudy. It's a little bit cooler today as well. So let's go ahead. We'll get back to work. We'll fire up the tractor. We'll head over to the white barn and see if we can clean it out a little bit better today. So inside the white barn here, it does look like it's starting to dry out a little bit. This is dry right through here. Still kind of soupy back in this area. And also like along the edges, and then there's like a puddle back in here. Trying to maneuver the tractor in here is not easy to try to get some of these tight little corners and spaces, but I'm gonna give it another go today, and hopefully we can at least make it a little bit better. So now that this has dried out and it's not so soupy, we're able to able to get a lot more today. So got it down to the gravel in a lot of places through here, and then on this side you can see all the gravel exposed. So we got the majority of the manure and composted hay and stuff out of here. But this area is still a problem. It's still pretty soupy, and I'm just gonna have to wait for this to dry a little bit more and see if we can get this out the door or scooped out. But it's coming along. It's looking a lot better than it was when we started. So hopefully give it another week or so to dry, and maybe we can at least get that side looking more like this side. So around this side of the barn, I did scoop out probably a good 4 scoops out of here, trying to get it cleaned out. Still a little bit soupy. Everything that was still wet, I drug back here so that it could dry. And I made a little bit of mistake. I was trying to maneuver in here, accidentally hit the bucket into this gate over here. I don't think I damaged the gate, but I've got a stock panel. I've got a stock panel welded on here. You can see it's bent down, and you can see like right here is where I caught it with the bucket, and it just bent that over. But I think the gate's fine. I just end up bending up the stock panel. Seems like every time you try to get some work done around here, you always end up, I don't know, breaking something or making some more work for yourself. That's just kind of the way it goes. So over here at the compost pile, as we look at this, you can see, hopefully you can see, you got a lot of gravel mixed in with this. I'd say when we get this all stirred in, the gravel won't be, it'll be fairly random in there once we get it mixed up. But here was the old compost pile, like right here. And this is everything we added. We doubled the size of the compost pile. So I'm gonna say we probably got almost, when that breaks down completely, we'll have about 2 acres or enough compost to spread over 2 acres of our hay. Still not quite the 6 acres that I need. Now the cattle are still out here grazing. We've got them opened up all the way out to the sorghum Sudan grass. I thought while we were out here we'd go look and see how it's doing. So last night was the first rain we got since I put all that fertilizer on here. So I'm hoping that'll help work that fertilizer in. And you see how this is kind of a pale green right now. I'm hoping once that fertilizer gets worked in the soil, you'll see a color change. We'll see it darken up, and then it should grow quicker. So right now the sorghum Sudan grass is probably close to about the bottom of my pants pocket, middle of my pants pocket, somewhere in there. So it's not quite 3 feet tall yet. So I think I want to wait until it's at least 3 feet tall before I send them out here to start grazing sections of this. I figure this is the closest to the barn. I'll probably have them graze this half, and then that other half I'll let it grow up. I'll probably let it get about 4 feet tall, and then I'll start cutting it for haylage. So right now for our temporary fence, we're using the new fence charger I got. This is a Gallagher S60, and yeah, I'm really happy with this charger so far. In fact, I'm thinking about getting a second one, because our meat chickens that we're raising in the barn, they're going to go out on pasture here in another week or so, and we'll have all of that poultry netting that we put around the chicken tractor, and we'll need to energize that. And yeah, that thing's so handy, the way it just hangs from a ground rod, and it's so light and compact. I think I'll end up picking up a second one. We'll go ahead and take a look at the pig feeder. All right, so it's been a total of 6 days since I filled it last. And Rebecca felt bad, so she made me raise it up just another 3 turns. So they're not like completely shut off, but you can see we're still almost halfway full in 6 days. Before we would be empty in about 5. So we've done 2 things. One, we adjusted the little shutters so that they're a lot more closed. And the other thing was Rebecca she came out here one night and she saw like 10 coons eating out of this, and that's about what she counted as they scattered in all directions. So we've been putting out traps trying to get coons, and just like 20 feet over here outside the pen, and we've caught 7 so far, 7 coons so far. I'm gonna have to set the traps out again today, see if we can get some more. We didn't set any traps out last night since it rained, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, it's definitely, those 2 things have helped the feed last longer. And we did set up a trail camera on the fence over there so that we could see if we could get pictures of the coons. And yeah, it's kind of funny because the coons are right there with the pigs, waiting for the pigs to get done eating so that they can get in the feeder. It's kind of funny. The pigs don't mind the coons at all. Whoa, man, I'm close to that tree. These metal cages are what the implements I bought at the farm auction came in. So I threw them in here so I can take them to the scrap yard. All right, I got all the pieces of pipe we cut off yesterday thrown in here. But what I would like to do, I'd like to free up this trailer. I'd like to take it to the scrapyard if I can. And I got a bunch more metal at the front. So let's go up there, see if we can get this loaded up the rest of the way, find any scrap. It's gonna be a light load, but find any scrap metal we can and just get it in the trailer. Apparently the old pit boss was full of wood chips. So this carport here, this was our billy goat shelter, and then now it's turned into like where I collected scrap metal. But I'm getting most of it cleaned out here. Now there is all of these buckets, and these were here on the property when we bought the place. This place was completely junked, and I believe all of these are like full of tar. And I just can't throw that away. So I gotta wait for like a hazardous waste cleanup day, so maybe I can get rid of those. But these buckets just keep on moving to a new location and then a new location, trying to keep them out of my way until I can find a good way to dispose of them. This is probably like their third location, and when we move this carport, we'll have to find a new spot for them. So what's left in here, I've got a couple pallets down here that can be taken out. I've got a hay feeder here, and then this was like built for the goats to be able to climb on top of and lay down. And before it was a billy goat shelter, this was actually like our picnic shelter when we lived in a camper up here. And we have, this is where we had different grilling utensils and different things hanging up on all these hooks. We had a paper towel holder out here, and then we used to have a TV set out here. Actually, I'd have to go back and find one of our older videos, you know, from like 2017, and you can see how we had this all set up as an outdoor kind of kitchen picnic area. Had a fridge out here, we had a couch out here, we had it all set up. So also out here, there's a couple of our older projects, and this was like an old chicken tractor. The lid opens up on it, you can get to the chickens. I need to go ahead and probably take the scrap metal off of this. And then this little A-frame over here, this was an old duck house, and I need to see if I can get all of the metal off this old duck house as well, and I can just get all this thrown away. And then that should take care of all the scrap metal in this location, and that's probably all we're going to fit in the trailer today. Whoa! Wasp nest. Right there we got a wasp nest. Luckily it wasn't attached to the metal that I took off. Didn't seem to disturb them, they're still there. I'm gonna move this. Hopefully there's no wasps in this. Yeah, there is. Far end, there's a wasp. All right, I'm gonna run back and get some wasp spray. Yo! Nothing make you scream like a little girl like a bunch of wasps. So like I said earlier, this is a pretty light load. That's all the scrap metal that I could find. I did stop a few other places, didn't see anything. I think we got it, pretty much everything last time we did this. So this ain't gonna be much money. I may be lucky to get 20 bucks out of this load, but luckily I'll get rid of it and it'll be gone. That's the big thing. So over the last couple days, did work on a couple of this year's projects. We started getting our fence posts ready so that we could build our new fence in the pasture, and then we're starting to clean out the carport over here so that we can eventually get that relocated over to the winter pasture. And then that can be a small livestock shelter for in there, mostly for the shade or for the winter time. But I have a huge list of like little projects to do, and I told myself I need to stay focused on the ones that are important, like the ones that I need to get done this year or that I need to get done before winter time. And these two are both things that I need to get done before winter time. But I think that's going to be it for today's video, guys. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.